and soon I will be there to brighten up even your darkest night. You just call out my name, and you know wherever I am, I'll come running to see you again. Winter, spring, summer, or fall, all you had to do is call, and I'll be there. Yeah, I will. You've got a friend. If the sky above you grows dark and full of clouds, and that old north wind begins to blow, keep your head together and call my name out loud. You'll hear me knocking at your door. You just call out my name, and you know wherever I am, I'll come running, running, running to see you again. Winter, spring, summer, or fall, all you got to do is call, and I'll be there. And ain't it good to know that you've got a friend when people can be so cold? They'll hurt you and desert you and take your soul if you let them. Oh, but don't you let them. You just call out my name, and you know wherever I am, I'll come running, running, running to see you again. Winter, spring, summer, or fall, all you got to do is call, and I'll be there. Yeah, I will. You've got a friend. You've got a friend. You've got a friend.
Good morning, everyone. My name is François Elbron. I'm the president of the French Friends of Tel Aviv University. I'm very pleased to be with you today. I will be the master of ceremony of this very important prize, the 2023 Hugo Ramniceanu Prize Award. I want to first greet our distinguished guests, visitors, friends. First, dear Daphna Metar-Mahmad, Chairman of the Board of Governors of Tel Aviv University, dear Ariel Porat, President of Tel Aviv University, dear Professor Jacob Frankel, former Chairman of the Board of Governors of Tel Aviv University, dear Professor Mark Scheif, Rector of Tel Aviv University, dear Amos Elad, Vice President of Tel Aviv University, dear Professor Drorit Neumann, Dean of Students, dear Professor Amnon Shashua, who will be the recipient of 2023 Hugo Ramniceanu Prize Award, We are also very fortunate to have the presence of the ambassador of Romania to Israel, dear Radu Ioanid. Thank you to be with us, because Hugo Ramniceanu was of Romanian origin, and he would have been very moved to have the ambassador of Romania present. And Ambassador Radu Ioanid is a very good friend of Gerald Ramniceanu, son of Hugo Ramniceanu. And last but not least, dear Ramniceanu and Barel family, dear Gerald Ramniceanu, dear Monique Barel, son and daughter of Hugo Ramniceanu, dear Francis Barel, grandson of Hugo Ramniceanu, and all his children. So we have 4 generations of Ramniceanu with us today, and it's a very, very moving for us. I will say a few words to start before the ceremony. It is a very important ceremony. Hugo Ramniceanu was, for almost 30 years, the president of the French Friends of Tel Aviv University. He's also very well known at Tel Aviv University because you enter every day Tel Aviv University by gate number 4. But at the French Friends, we don't call that gate Arba. We call it gate, which is named Hugo Ramniceanu Gate. He gave his name to this gate, but also he gave his name to buildings. He gave his name to fellowships, to rooms, to buildings. He was really a founder and really a believer in this university. Also, almost 30 years ago, he had a dream of an Israeli nation, Israeli state, that will become an entrepreneurial state. At the time, it was not obvious. A lot of you can remember at the time, Israel was a very socialist country, very well organized, very well regulated, and not too much freedom of enterprise. So he wanted to establish a price in economics, but it was really a price to celebrate, honor, distinguish Israeli entrepreneurs. And for the last 30 years, we have been given this prize. Hugo Ramniceanu sadly departed in 2008, 15 years ago. But until the end, he was given this prize. And we are very pleased today that his daughter, his son, his grandson will join me to give this prize today, and several prizes in his name and in the name of his late wife also, Valerie Ramniceanu, called Valley. This year is, as always, a very moving, very happy ceremony, but also it's a very sad ceremony for us this year. Because last year, our very, very dear friend, Sylvain Barel, husband of Monique Barel and son-in-law of Hugo Ramniceanu, passed away too early, very suddenly, and it was very, very sad. Sylvain Barel, like Hugo Ramniceanu, was from Romania, a Jew from Romania that came to France to escape the terrible communist state over there. He married Monique Barel, Monique Ramniceanu, who was the son of Hugo Ramniceanu. He was also an entrepreneur. He worked with his father-in-law, his brother-in-law, and they really developed the family firm, the family company. He was an amazing entrepreneur, but also he was a very nice man, very well-educated, very articulate, very cultivated, and it's a big loss for all the friends of Tel Aviv University around the world, and especially in France. So before we start the ceremony, we're going to pay tribute to Sylvain Barel. I will ask his son, Francis Barel, to join me on stage to commemorate his father. And Francis, if you can join me, thank you very much.
Thank you, Francois. Dear guests, thank you for coming. And I want to start by sharing a little secret. So this morning, the whole family had to wake up at 6:30 Paris time, which was early. And let me tell you, my father, Sylvain, would never have been able to make it on time because he liked sleeping late and he was fashionably late, adopting the French fashion. I want to share another secret, which is that I'm not a big fan of the word heritage. I think that it's too linked to the past, too passive, and it's also too money related. But most of all, it doesn't look toward the future. And I much prefer the word legacy. I like the fact that legacy has a notion of future, of building, and of transmitting something. And also, you have the notion of responsibility. When you receive a legacy, you're responsible for also passing it over. And when you're getting a legacy, you're passing the torch. And to me, legacy is the legacy of Israel and its founding fathers, legacy of my grandfather, Hugo Ramniceanu, and legacy of my father, of course, and my parents, Monique and Sylvain. When you look at Israel, the founding fathers created the only democracy in the Middle East with the hope that we would look toward the future. And indeed we have, as François mentioned, by creating not just a nation built on the past and the present, but also toward the future. And that's why they call it the startup nation. In the same way, the legacy of the Tel Aviv University, built on the foundation of my grandfather and all the donors and the guests here today and the professors, after 67 years of creation, it creates more innovation and more patents than almost any other university in the world. And patents, of course, are a great foundation for a strong legacy. As for my grandfather's legacy, he left everything behind in Romania, and the only thing he didn't leave was my uncle, who was 8 months old, and his wife. And he took the last plane out of Bucharest airport before the Red Army closed the airport. And he didn't know what he would bring to France. He didn't have a heritage, but he was building a legacy already in France and in Israel and with the Tel Aviv University. It was a legacy of entrepreneurship, a legacy of economy, again, legacy of looking toward the future. And most of all, a legacy of hard work. Speaking of hard work, my father also had this legacy, coming from a communist country, but also building a legacy for his family. Jean-Sylvain Bercovici, because that was his full name, was sold by Romania to Israel in 1974, because Romania still sold people like slaves in 1974, probably against a few heads of cattle, or maybe a few $1,000s, who knows. And he also left everything behind, including his name, actually, because he left over his first name, Jean, so that his friends called him Sylvain, and he left his last name, Bercovici, so that people would start to call him Barel. And Barel, by the way, was an Israeli general who didn't know that he would give his name to my family. But again, this is a legacy of Israel already intertwined with the legacy of my family. Again, my father chose the name of an Israeli general to create a new future, to write his own legacy in France, one of engineering, one of hard work, one of incredible culture and knowledge, one of love, of course, one of friendship. One of the strongest legacy that I have from my father is that because he was an only son, every one of his friends was like a brother or a sister. So every one of my friends, every one of my children's friends today, they're like brothers or sisters. They're not cousins, brothers or sisters. He also had a legacy to see that Teva, at the time, in the late 80s, early 90s, a small Israeli startup would become a future multinational of the world, known the world over, not just for flip-flops, it's another company, but for drugs and medicine and revolutionizing generic medicine. And again, he saw this future, he saw the legacy. He pushed us to be better, he pushed us to be stronger, to always read, to always know more, to have, not just a general culture that should be spread, but again, just to know almost everything about anything, not, wide, but deep as well. And you can see his legacy today in the way my daughter writes. My father had a beautiful handwriting. Every single letter was like a Japanese art. That's what my daughter took today. He was an engineer, as François mentioned. My son dreams of being an engineer, either in the Technion or at MIT. The only legacy that no one has took up, and I think that's better for our health, is pipe smoking. This is something that we left behind, and not all legacies should be followed in the future. Of course, there's a legacy charted by my mother, who went on her own scientific path, and today honors all of those legacies, the one from the Tel Aviv University, the one from my grandfather, one from my father, by giving over the prize and making sure that the economy of Israel is recognized the world over. And again, always with an eye toward the future. One last difference between the word heritage and the word legacy. Heritage is a gift. It's something that you receive. Legacy is a responsibility, as I mentioned. And every Jew in the world has a responsibility. One, to be an example. We are the chosen people, which means that we have a responsibility to always be better, stronger, smarter than anyone else, because we can't afford not to, because of all the discrimination and persecution. We always need to be just better, as an example. We also have a responsibility to represent proudly our forefathers, but to do mitzvot every day, but also to support the states of Israel and the Tel Aviv University with gifts, with donations, just to make sure that it's stronger. And of course, Tel Aviv University will look toward the future for the next 67 years and beyond, and the state of Israel for the next 75 years and beyond. So my family, my children, everyone here, and the state of Israel, all the Jews around the world, as I said, they have a responsibility to represent the state of Israel, the Jewish religion, and my family, we have a responsibility to proudly represent the name Bahel, that my father chose, and to make sure that my father, wherever he is, can smile upon us and be proud of this legacy that we all created together.
Thank you, Francis Barrel, for these words. You honor very well your father and your grandfather. It's really beautiful, and thank you for this very important meaning, and I like a lot your thoughts about legacy and heritage, and I really share them. It was very moving for us to see Sylvain with us again, and you saw that a lot of the pictures you saw were at the Board of Governors, were at events of the French Friends. It's very important to see that. Now I would like to invite to the podium Professor Ariel Porat to pronounce a few words. Thank you.
Unfortunately, I'm not as tall as you, so I hope you can see me here. So, good morning. Francis, your speech was inspirational. We have heard about your grandfather, and it's another opportunity to celebrate here with you, with your family, with Monique, your mother, with the French Friends of Tel Aviv University, our board members, faculty, the provost, Mark Steif, the Dean of Exact Sciences, Professor Tova Milo, Professor Dorit Neumann, and many others. See Sami Sagol, Alfred Akirov, many other friends here. And I think it shows something about the way in which we look at this prize, also the way in which we look at you, Amnon. I'll say a few words about you in a minute. So our laureate today is Amnon Shashua. Everyone in Israel knows who is Amnon Shashua. Really, ask a child in the street who is Amnon Shashua, you would know. But I believe that if we ask you, Amnon, like looking at your ID, what is the first feature in your ID, I believe you would say, first of all, a scientist. I think that's what I would say if I am asked about my identity. I would say law professor, and then the president of Tel Aviv University. Not that the second one is less important, but still, this is something in our DNA, that we were raised in a certain way, and we don't forget, and this is what we love to do most. Now, Amnon started his career here at Tel Aviv University. He is an alumni of Tel Aviv University. From that point, so that was a very good choice to come to Tel Aviv University, but then he has made some bad choices. Well, not in business. In business, all his choices were excellent, but and also in science. But then he went to Weizmann. Have you heard about this institute back in the... So then he went to Weizmann and another institute. I hope I could pronounce it. I think it's something like MIT, right? That's the spelling. And the worst step, that he went to the Hebrew University. But nobody is perfect, right? Now, this is, of course, just a joke. It's a wonderful career, and Amnon is the one who pioneered the research on AI and computer visioning. He has many students. 4 of his students are 4 among the best professors that we have at Tel Aviv University. I just met one of them a couple of weeks ago. Yoav Levin, is he here with us today? Maybe, okay. Yoav Levin was your student. I think the youngest among the faculty that we have at the university was your student. And there are others. There is Nadav Cohen, and Lior Wolf, and Shaya Vidan. Those are top scientists in their fields. We have a saying that אין אדם מתקנא בבנו ותלמידו. You never envy your child or your student. And we want our children and students to be better than us. I'm not sure, Amnon, that you succeeded to achieve this mission, that your students would be better than you. But, maybe, who knows, or at least equally as good as you. And when we talk to your students, as I said, I just met a couple of weeks ago, I've met Yoav. They asked me at the School of Computer Science to do a little bit more than what they had done in order to convince him to join Tel Aviv University. And much of the time that we have met, we talked about you, and the way in which your students look at you actually shows a lot about you. So it's not only that Amnon is a top scientist, he is also admired by his students. And as I said, you could be top scientist and the students don't like you. So here it's different, and definitely saying a lot about the character of Amnon. Now, Amnon, as you know, is very well, first of all, he is recipient of numerous prizes. He is the laureate, the Israel Prize laureate. He is the Dan David Prize. I don't know if you remember, but actually this is the second time that Tel Aviv University award you a prize. I was honored to call you a couple of years ago to inform you about the Dan David Prize. And, he is also the one who lightened what is the Masuot, the Yom HaAtzmaut, right? In the Independence Day, lightening the orchids, Yom HaAtzmaut. So he really awarded almost everything that can be, all important prizes in Israel. There are many others, I just mentioned few. So now we decided you are eligible to the Ramniceanu Prize after receiving the Israel Prize, and I'm sure that there will be many others on the way. Now, unbelievable success of Amnon is, of course, Mobileye. I'm sure that I even don't need to explain to you what Mobileye is. Everyone who has a car knows what Mobileye is. We scientists and researchers at the university I think that almost all of us, maybe some just want to do their basic research and really don't care about how it affects the world, but I believe that many of us care quite a lot about the impact of our work on the world. Sometimes it's on the academia and indirectly on the world outside of the academia. But I really cannot think of an impact that a scientist could do more than inventing Mobileye, or what is beyond Mobileye. Think about I'm not sure whether even millions of people that their life either have been saved or would be saved in the future because of this technology. Very few people have this privilege of creating a technology that in such a tangible way save thousands and even millions lives of people all over the world. And Amnon is not working also on other very hot issues as natural language AI, which is ChatGPT and these kind of things. He is also involved in autonomous cars technologies, and so there are more on the pipeline for Amnon to do in his life. After all, he's a young person and there is much in front of him. But what he has done together also with his partner Ziv Aviram by inventing Mobileye in a way, this is something that very few people could be credited for. Speaking about the business abilities or about the business potential of Mobileye, as you know, Mobileye has been sold more than $15 billion, which is the largest transactions ever done in Israel. And so this shows you about how important it is. Sometimes the dollar amount that people pay for a company shows also about the social contribution. Now, Amnon, together with his wife Anat, are also very much involved in philanthropy. Tel Aviv University is among the beneficiaries of their philanthropy. It's interesting to look, they have done a lot in philanthropy. I wouldn't go into all the details, just mention two examples that shows you that the philanthropy of Anat and Amnon is, on the one hand, is targeted to help people in certain occasions, but also to help Israel, the state of Israel. And maybe that was the reason, how many of us not only got awards, but also had the privilege of lightening the torch in the Independence Day. And so one thing is that part of their philanthropy goes to the efforts to incorporate ultra-Orthodox in Israel into the labor market. I'm sure I don't need to tell you how important it is to the future of Israel. And the second one is through the COVID-19 time, when many people lost their businesses and others had to start businesses and have difficulties how to do it. So part of the philanthropy of Anat and Amnon went to this direction, helping them to start their businesses. As I said, in both cases, it's not only, first of all, of course, it's for the people who are the immediate beneficiaries, but also it serves Israel, the national interest. When you try to pick an awardee or a laureate for a prize, the ideal one is an honoree or an awardee of a prize that honors you no less than you honors him. And I think that Amnon is the best example you can think of. So we are honored that you, Amnon, receives this prize today from Tel Aviv University, the very prestigious Ramniceanu Prize, and I am sure that you are going to contribute a lot to the Israeli society and the world in the next years. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor Ariel Porat, for these words. Now I'd like to call to the stage Dr. Monique Barrel, daughter of Hugo Ramniceanu, that will present the prize. Thank you.
Distinguished member of Tel Aviv University, Professor Ariel Porat, President, Amos Elad, Vice President, Dr. Daphna Metar-Nermad, Chairwoman of the Board of Governors of Tel Aviv University, Professor François Heilbronn, President of the French Association of the Friends of Tel Aviv University, Professor Amnon Shashua, recipient of the 2023 Hugo Ramniceanu Prize, dear family, dear friends. For those of you who have been present in this ceremony for the past years, you may have noticed that I've always tried to find common points between my father, Hugo Ramniceanu, who created this prize in 1987, and the lucky recipient. However, this year is special for me, as you have seen just before. My husband, my beloved husband of 48 years, Sylvain, that many of you have known, died last July because of the stupidity and laziness of man. So this year, I will include him in my speech. So my father, Hugo Ramniceanu, created this prize in 1987, and he was a visionary man to celebrate entrepreneurship, because at that time, Israel was far away from being called a startup nation. You, Professor Shashua, were already 2 years past your Bachelor of Science here in Tel Aviv University, so you are an alumnus of this university. My father was not keen at all on computer world, even if he was a visionary man for the other things. At the opposite, my husband would have loved being here to talk with you, as he was an addict on computers. Of course, not at your level. But thanks to him, already in 1995, we succeeded. In 1995, I remember you, it was the year Windows 95, Yahoo still existed, Google did not yet exist. And we succeeded to crash completely the French statistics, who gave only 17% of the French people having one computer per home. Because thanks to him, we already have 4 computers, 3 cell phones, and he already had 3 email addresses. You, Professor Shashua, were already 2 years past your PhD in AI unit laboratory in MIT, and you already have also a fellowship for your postdoc. My husband was also an addict in news, any news, historical, political, philosophical, and of course in economy. So of course he knew of your fantastic sale of Mobileye to Intel, and he also knew of your new artificial vision device, my i2, that Time magazine said that it was one of the best inventions in 2019. By the way, my father would not have understood how Wikipedia could say about you that you were both a businessman and a computer scientist. So I'm lost. And so he was also a great lover of Israel. And all his family and all his childhood friends are living here. And he was supposed to make his Aliyah in 1974. As my son and François said, he was part of these Romanian Jews who were bought by Israel and traded against orange or oil or whatever the Romanian government needed. But thanks to that, the Romanian Jews could escape from Romania. But The year before, in 1973, we had met in Bucharest. And after 3 days only, we decided to get married. So he came to live in France. But he would have loved hearing that you were giving the honor of lighting a torch on our Herzl for Yom Ha'atzmaut 2017. You received the Dan David Prize 3 years ago. And I do not know, and so our family is very honored that you still accepted to receive the Ramniceanu Prize. And I do not know what you did with the huge amount of money that you received for the Dan David Prize. But our family is very grateful to you that you accepted to give back the money you received for the Ramniceanu Prize for students. So there will be, for the students of this university, of course, so they would be able one day so they will be one day may be able to achieve the same great success that you did. So may this prize brings you more happiness and success, and kol hakavod and mazel tov.
Thank you very much, Monique, for these words. Now we're going to enter the ceremony part and the giving of the prize. So I will call Professor Ariel Porat to join me on stage, to join us on stage, and also Professor Amnon Shashua to join us on stage.
Okay. So let me read it for you. This is to witness that on the 9th day of May 2023, the Hugo Ramniceanu Prize in Economics for 2023 was awarded to Professor Amnon Shashua, computer scientist, inventor, entrepreneur, and philanthropist, in recognition of his groundbreaking contribution to Israel's tech industry over decades, his vision in co-founding Mobileye, a world-renowned pioneer of self-driving technology for automobiles that is today installed in over 100 million vehicles, his global impact on automotive safety and applied artificial intelligence, for which he was recently awarded the Israel Prize for Lifetime Achievement, his commitment to supporting Israeli entrepreneurship and small businesses, and his active giving together with his family to important social causes.
So thank you, Professor Porat. As Dr. Monique Barrel announced, Professor Amnon Shashua is donating the prize money of the Hugo Ramniceanu Prize to the sorry for the pronunciation, Meduyakot program in the Raymond and Beverly Sackler Faculty of Exact Science. Now I invite Professor Amnon Shashua to respond to the and to thank for the prize.
To be honest, all the superlatives I heard about myself from Ariel and Monique threw me off balance. So it's a great honor to be among a very distinguished group of recipients of the Ramniceanu Award. And I'm very happy to see many colleagues and friends in the audience. You know, my work over the years focused on science and technology. And as it happened, that it had a positive impact on economic growth and was instrumental in creating new industries. But to put things in context, you know, my academic career throughout the years, which is still ongoing, I was really fascinated by the ability to build intelligent machines. This is what's driving me. It's not, you know, the business is a byproduct. What's really driving me is the ability to build intelligent machines. So it started with computer vision back in the 90s, the ability to make machines understand visual signals just like we humans can interpret images. Then it moved into machine learning, the ability to create machines that could learn from data. Then to deep networks, reinforcement learning, and today I think the most exciting field is in natural language understanding. What the public is familiar with ChatGPT, and it's called generative AI. That this is really the most fascinating, both business, but more importantly, scientific endeavor, because it has the potential of really changing the connection between computers and society. Now, along this journey, companies were generated. The most famous one is Mobileye. Mobileye employs today 3,500 employees. It's traded on NASDAQ, north of above $30 billion, which is the biggest company in Israel from a market cap. Generates more than $2 billion of revenue and $500 million of profit. It makes me very proud, especially proud to have so many very talented employees, because without the employees, you cannot do anything. Then Orcam with the technology for bringing sight to people who lost their sight. The digital bank 10, AI21, which is in one of the leading companies in generative AI. And Mentee Robotics, it's kind of the dream of a few years from now to build a service robot, a robot that can do 90% of the task-hold chores. But by the way, some of my initiatives come from complaints I get from my wife. So, for example, driving, I never drive. My wife hates me driving, so she always drives. And she claims that all of Mobileye is one big conspiracy, that all cars will drive like me. So, and Mentee, we're building a robot because she always complains the way I help in the house. So now there'll be a robot that will do it properly. So I think that computers will continue changing the world. And if you look at how AI, artificial intelligence, is going to play out till the end of the decade, I strongly believe it's going to impact society at a much stronger force than any industrial revolution that society has encountered. It's big, it's fundamental, and I think Israel has a very strong potential of being among the leading countries or the leading societies and leading this frontier. And I'm really excited to be part of it. As for philanthropy, all the credit goes to my wife. This is why I don't want to talk about philanthropy. I'm not a philanthropist. I'm a technologist. I'm a scientist. My wife is the philanthropist in my family, my wife and my kids. And one day she'll be on a stage and talk about the philanthropy. It's not for me to talk about. So thank you all for coming here, and for the Barel and the Ramniceanu family for this very prestigious award. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Amnon Shashua, and congratulations. I want to congratulate also Mrs. Shashua, because from what I understand, you're the one who pushed him to invent, and more important, you're the one who won't push him to be a philanthropist. And philanthropy, as you all know, and I see a lot of great philanthropists, and I just saw my good friend Alfred Akirov. Hello, Alfred, who is also an amazing philanthropist. So philanthropy is part of our life. It's really what brings us together here, and I'm really very pleased about what you said, and thank you so much. Now I'd like to invite Professor Tova Milo, who is the Dean of the Raymond and Beverly Sackler Faculty of Exact Science, to say a few words on our program and on the donor of the Ramniceanu Awards to his faculty.
Hello, everybody. When I started my dean position 2.5 years ago, one of the things that bothered me most was the gender imbalance in exact sciences. We have very few PhD students, female PhD students, very few female master students, very few professors. And to address that, we started a mentorship program called Meduyakot, Exact She, where female faculty mentor female PhD students that in turn mentor master students, that in turn mentor undergrad students, creating sort of a network of support that helps the students fulfill their potential. And I'm really very proud of this program, and I hope it will make a difference. But what I should tell you about it is that it's a really expensive program. And the reason that it is expensive is because we insist that the students, the mentors, will not volunteer, but actually we will get paid, we'll get scholarship for what they do. And the reason for that is that we women are always asked to volunteer for helping other women because it's really important for us, and we think it should be done. And we spend tons of time on that. I can't even count the number of lectures I give to high school female students and similar all other women that I know. But the thing is that this takes time. And time is really the thing that we women don't have at all. So we decided that rather than asking our students to volunteer even more, we will pay them for their time. And luckily, we had a lot of support for that, starting from the university, the Rappaport Foundation, Irit Rappaport, that helped us a lot with a very generous donation, the Crown Foundation, our friends in industry, Google, and Checkpoint. And now you too, Amnon, and I'm very grateful for that, and I hope that this friendship will continue. And I call everybody here, I think gender imbalance is a really big problem. We all know it's a problem. We all think that something should be done about it. But knowing and thinking is not enough. We should do something. And I call you all to do something in your companies, in your research labs, anything, just do it. Thank you very much.
אני ואתה נשנה את העולם. אני ואתה, אז יבואו כבר כולם. אמרו את זה קודם לפניי, זה לא משנה. אני ואתה נשנה את העולם. אני ואתה ננסה מההתחלה. יהיה לנו רע, אין דבר, זה לא נורא. אמרו את זה קודם לפניי, זה לא משנה. אני ואתה נשנה את העולם. תודה רבה, אריאל מריאש.
So I really want to thank the singer, Shai Amber, and the guitarist, Ariel Mariage. Thank you very much. It was beautiful, both in English and Hebrew, so it was great. So the end of our ceremony is the awarding of the Hugo and Valerie Ramniceanu Scholarship in Economics, and I'm calling to the stage to join me, Gerald Ramniceanu, son of Hugo and Valerie Ramniceanu, to give that prize. So the two students who are receiving that prize today, I'm calling them also to the stage, are Shahar Taor and Veronica Yovshik to the stage. So thank you, Veronica and Charles. Stay on stage. Gerald, perhaps you say a few words about what Veronica and Charles told you and what they study.
Okay, these two young ladies look very bright, and it seems that they are going for a very bright career. One in East Asia, I understood, and one in computer-related economics?
Digital science for high-tech.
High-tech, okay. So they are, Amnon, be careful. You're going to get competition. So I wish them a lot of success in their bright career, and thank you very much for all of you. Bye.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. No, you can go out. So this ends our ceremony, but as you see, the generosity of the Ramniceanu family is great. And Dorit, yeah, come. Come, Dorit. It's not on my program, but come. It's always a pleasure to have you. So I'm calling now the Dean of Students, Dorit Neumann. It's a special, it's out of the program.
We're spontaneous, right?
Yes.
So, good morning, everyone, and thanks for the opportunity to share with you what we're doing here at the Student Success Center at Tel Aviv University, which I am the dean of. We provide a comprehensive range of support services to our students. We also oversee allocating scholarships to our students. In 2022 only, we awarded 1,700 scholarships to students who fit the criteria out of 2,500 students who applied. These scholarships are often game changers for our students, enabling them to complete their studies. I want to reflect with you two very meaningful events from this intense week. On Monday, in the Students' Affairs Committee, which was co-chaired by Linda Streit, my friend, my very dear friend and partner, and myself, we focused on student dropout. It was very clear from the students' stories that financial aid is indeed a game changer in increasing student retention in the university. Yesterday, we had another powerful session towards a more inclusive and diverse campus, together with the Commission for Equity, Diversity, and Community. 3 students and 1 university staff were present in the session that I moderated. The students talked about various difficulties and challenges that they encounter. Then, one of the participants, one of the governors who was present in that meeting, asked the students, "What about financial hardships?" The students didn't mention these initially, as really they feel proud and sometimes intimidated to reveal these hardships. They grind their teeth in immense efforts to rise above sea level to support themselves throughout their studies, often while supporting their families as well. The students' responses to this question were heartbreaking, revealing many extreme financial difficulties. So on behalf of Tel Aviv University and the entire student body, I want to extend our heartfelt gratitude for your generous contribution towards the scholarships of our students. So with your support, they can concentrate on their academic pursuits, engage in extracurricular activities, and participate in the meaningful experiences enriching their learning journey. The impact of your contribution extends far beyond the financial realm, as it fosters a culture of giving, compassion, and solidarity within our university student community. So your commitment to making education accessible and empowering to our students to fulfill their dreams is an inspiration to all. Thank you so much, and thank you to the Ramniceanu family and to you, Francois. Thank you.
Thank you. So this time is really the end. Just to conclude, I want to congratulate Professor Amnon Shashua. Again, you really deserve that prize and even more, and you had a lot of prizes, but really well deserved for what you've done and what you're going to do for the humanity. I want to thank also some of the French Friends donors that are here today, because at the French Association, as Dorit knows, we like a lot to help students, because students is the future of researchers, economists, entrepreneurs, artists, and the future of Israel, and the future also of mankind. And I want to thank Odile Cohen-Madar, who is there, who supports students at the Faculty of Law. I want to thank Samuel Gel Rubin, who is the Vice President of French Friends, and his sister, Leslie Benita, who support the architecture department. I want to thank Michael Ziegler, who is also Assistant Treasurer to the Association. I want to thank Ronit and Armand Stemmer, that sustain the research of Professor Ilana Gores, who is amazing on brain research. And we really, at the French Friends, think that supporting the students are great. A lot of American and philanthropists that are in the room like to build nice buildings, very beautiful buildings, and on campus we see buildings. We really prefer students than buildings. So give money to students, give them, because as Dorit said, 2,500 asked for fellowships, only 1,700 received fellowships. 800 students that really deserve fellowship didn't receive that. So give less to buildings, give more to students, and to the future of Israel. Thank you.